The news summary, good evening. Seychelles Board and Management has announced that the noteholder committee of the bondholders' representatives have withdrawn the winding up petition which had been filed against the local airline today. In a communique, Seychelles said that the petition has been withdrawn as it has been able to provide the settlement funds of approximately 28 million US dollars in escrow. The withdrawal of the winding up petition is the first step towards the airline's exit from the company reorganization process, which began on the 4th of October 2021. 4 laws are being repealed under a government project to revise certain laws that are no longer necessary. The National Assembly approved the Statute Law Revision Miscellaneous Amendment Bill 2022, seeking to abolish the 4 laws, which are Disposal of Unclaimed Deposit Act, Entertainment Tax Act, Seychelles Business Number Act, and Custom Tariff Act. Presenting the bill, Vice President Ahmed Afif says a provision of these acts are covered by new and modernized laws and legislations. The lack of trained Seychellois pharmacists has led to high dependency on foreigners working in pharmacies on GOPs. This is of concern to the Ministry of Health as it does not respond to the country's need in the sector. The Minister for Health, Peggy Vidot, was in the National Assembly yesterday to answer several questions, one of which was from Mobixton MNA Gervais Henry. Mr. Henry questioned the Minister on her plan to entice young professionals to consider a career in pharmacy, hence reducing the high demand for expatriate pharmacists. According to the Minister's response, there are presently 7 pharmacists and an additional 2 foreign ones employed in the Ministry of Health. In the private sector, there are 28 pharmacists, including 7 pharmacy technicians, all of whom are here on GOP. This figure is 12 times the number of trained pharmacists within the public sector. The inspector tasked to collect exhibits in the murder of Bernie Apasami has since this morning started to present his evidence in court. He collected a total of 122 exhibits. The Supreme Court started listening to the case yesterday with 2 scientific support officers presenting photos they took of the said crime scene, amongst other things. There remains only 2 accused in this case after a total of 5 men were apprehended. Bernie Apasami was reported missing in September last year and almost 2 weeks later found buried in a shallow grave on a private property in Bougainville. The Seychelles delegation, together with the Mauritius delegation, met today to discuss on the last development regarding the Plateau Mascarene. This is a zone that the 2 countries jointly share, which is about 400 kilometers square, 4 times the size of Mahé. Doing more research in this zone, especially by Seychellois scientists, and finding ways for fishermen to fish sea cucumbers, were some of the points discussed. The last time the delegation met was last year in Mauritius. Traveling between Seychelles and the European Union is now easier. It is the EU who made this announcement on its social networks, one that will facilitate traveling despite COVID-19. According to the announcement, vaccination and test certificates carried out in Seychelles are now valid in the 27 European countries. This is good news for travelers, but also for tourists, for whom coming to the archipelago have just been made easier. A delegation from the United Nations Development Program is in discussions with the Ministry of Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry, together with local investors, to develop a preliminary investment map project. The delegation from UNDP is led by the resident representatives for Seychelles and Mauritius, Amanda Serumaga. The Investor Map project aims to take stock of policies and needs, including consultations with the public and private sector. The discussions will end tomorrow.
So the role of UNDP with the platform is to facilitate the ministry which is leading, which is the Ministry of Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry, to be able to bring together the private sector actors, whether it's across agriculture, whether it's across digital work, even some of the chambers of commerce and other elements, to be able to discuss what are the priority areas that Seychelles should be looking to invest in. How can they deal with the regulatory framework? How can they deal with some other aspects to make sure there's an ecosystem available and ready to assure potential investors that if they come and invest in a particular item, a particular area, they will be able to make a profit, but they will also be contributing to the attainment of the SDGs. After the map is produced, we will then support the government and the private sector to launch investor convenings, to tell investors, okay, we've done all of the background research, we've done all of the research and consultation locally, and therefore, these are the areas you may invest in, right? And the map will be placed on a digital platform online, accessible globally to any investor, big or small. It'll also be accessible to local investors. It will be updated every 1 to 2 years so that it's always current. So really what we're trying to do is to aggregate all of the information and knowledge that is available in the Seychelles, put it on one platform, do the analytics, help the country do the due diligence. So let's say an investor is interested. What happens? The investor and the government are supported to do the due diligence to see whether they can go ahead with the investment in an identified opportunity area.
And that's it for the news summary. We'll be back at 8 for the Creole News Bulletin. Bye-bye for now.